All right, we're live again. This time, instead of talking about one particular press conference in general, like we did with EA and Xboxes yesterday, we're going to talk about three of them. We're going to talk about Ubisoft, Bethesda's, and Square's. And honestly, one of the reasons I'm even doing this is because I didn't really think any of them in particular deserved their own video. So I felt, you know what? Let's just go live. Let's talk for 30 minutes or something before Sony's show, which, by the way, I am incredibly looking forward to. Just kill some time, have fun with chat a little bit here. Uh, as we just count down the hours or the minutes left to seeing Death Stranding for the first time and gameplay for the first time, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, more Spider-Man, and whatever else they may have. What's going on, everybody in chat? PS Coys, Mark, how's everybody doing? What's up, Jade Zarp? I can't even speak. Jay Zarp, I'm pretty tired. I've been up all day watching these shows. What's up, Indie Gamer? Hope everyone's doing well. I'm pretty good. Although, after that Ubisoft showing, I honestly am pretty devastated. I ain't gonna lie. I watched it with Gopher, and I didn't say anything for 5 minutes. Like, I, I'm devastated. I don't know what to say. I feel like a family member just died. I'm a little obviously exaggerating a little bit right there, but I mean, you obviously know what I'm pretty much talking about. But I'm going to run through Bethesda's first since they went yesterday. And honestly, out of the ones here that we're going to talk about, I thought it was the best. Definitely better than EA's, definitely better than Square's, definitely better than Ubisoft's. Um, not as good as Microsoft's. And honestly, I don't think it was as good as some of the previous Bethesda showings. They started off with Rage 2, and they brought out Andrew WK to do his song, which I'm not really a fan of concerts at these types of shows. I just kind of want to say, or just kind of want to see the game being played. I'm not really interested in watching somebody. I know Gopher will disagree with me because he's a big Andrew WK stan, but when they actually did get to Rage 2, it was like, holy crap, that game looks really good. It looks like Doom, which isn't really a bad thing, the gunplay and things like that, but it looks like a first person Mad Max. Like, I am sold on that game. I was sold from the first time we saw the gameplay. I am even more sold now after watching that, and it's coming out spring 2019. Thank God they avoided that February 22nd, 2019 pickle for other publishers now have to deal with there, which I'm going to make a separate video about. But dude, I'm all in on Rage 2. I'm going to be making like a top 10 games at E3 this year, and obviously you have to watch Sony's before you can make that list. But I definitely think Rage 2 is going to be in that top 10. What they showed there looked incredible to me. So I'm pumped for that. And then it kind of went down, went into a lull. They started talking about Elder Scrolls Legends, which is a card game. It's coming to console finally, but I don't care. I don't care about Hearthstone. I don't care about card games. It's not for me. So I started kind of zoning out. Then they started talking about Elder Scrolls Online, another game that I am just not interested in. And I mean, I'm sure there's other people that are pretty interested in Elder Scrolls Online. I'm interested in Elder Scrolls, single player, like Elder Scrolls 6. I'm not really interested in the online portion of it. And then we got Doom 2, and it was really just a tease. It's going to come out at QuakeCon. But I recently just played through Doom 1. It took me 2 years to go back to because I tend not to go back to games I pass up, and it was my mistake. The game came out in 2016, right when I was about to hit the million gamer score at E3, and I couldn't actually play anything to get gamer score because I was like on a tight leash. Like I only had a 1,000 or two I could kind of play with. And because of that, I didn't play it. And I don't play games on other profiles. I play it on my main profile or I don't play it at all. I'm not one of those who will say, oh, I played it on a secondary profile. No, it's everything I play is on my main profile. Everybody can see it. It's not blocked. I don't have privacy enabled. If I talk about a game, it's usually because I played it. And you can see every game I played on Xbox. going all the way back to the 360. I played like 1,500 games. I'm not one of those people that hides it and tries to pretend and just makes things up and it's all cool because nobody can see your achievement or trophy history. Even my PlayStation 1 is in full view of the public if people want to check it out to see if what I'm saying is true about the games I play. I believe in transparency, which is why I do that. So I'm pumped, dude. What they showed, that little teaser of Hell on Earth, Doom Eternal, and it was funny because after Microsoft's Halo Infinite title for the next game and this Doom Eternal, it really made it sound like, hey, these games are kind of being meant to played forever, like games as a service model. Doom Eternal, Halo Infinite. I mean, you get the meaning behind the words. They didn't call it Doom 2 for a reason, and they didn't call it Halo 6 for a reason. So I wonder if there's going to be that type of stuff there. But man, they really got something there with id on that Doom game. So I'm pumped for Doom Eternal. I think they said they're showing more off at QuakeCon, so look forward to that. They showed Quake Champions, which is a game I have no interest in. So that was kind of just where I zoned out again. And then they showed Prey, which honestly excited me because I really enjoyed Prey last year. I think I was in my top 10. I gave it an 8.5. It could have been one of the greats. It could have been one of the greats if the combat really didn't let it down. They announced the new DLC, which is coming out, available right now, and it's called Moon Crash. Haven't played it yet, but it really seems like a cool take on everything that's going in Prey with the whole simulation stuff. And then they announced Typhoon Hunter, which is a 1 versus 5 multiplayer mode. So Bethesda starting to get in multiplayer a little bit. I thought they were single player. I thought they were all about player one. We all remember the ad campaign from last year where they were saying, hey, save player one? Is Bethesda changing their minds a little bit after this press conference? I don't know. Maybe. And then, and something I really wasn't expecting, Machine Games came out and talked about Wolfenstein. And I was like, okay, there's no way they're announcing Wolfenstein 3 yet. Can't be. It's impossible. The game just came out last year. And then they said, oh, we're doing Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is a cool take on Wolfenstein The Old Blood, which was the DLC for Wolfenstein 1. The one that came out a couple years ago. And it's going to be in the future. You're going to play as BJ's twin daughters. It's going to be co-op. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. When's it coming out? I thought it was going to be out this year. You'd be able to play it with a buddy. But no, it's next year. So makes me wonder if this is Wolfenstein 3, but it really can't be, right? This has got to be like a spin-off game, like a $30 experience, a $20 experience similar to Old Blood. This can't be like the next Wolfenstein. Like, you're going to have to continue on with what happened in 2. Like, they can't just let BJ Blazkowicz, like, we don't get to find out what happens. Like, I'm cool going into the future and playing as his grown-up daughters, but I want to continue the storyline because they really fleshed out BJ's character in the last game. So Devin says it's $30. Great. That means it won't be actually the full game. It's just going to be a standalone title. Which I wonder, was the Old Blood come out a year after the other one? I'm not really sure. I have to look into that. But I love Wolfenstein, so you guys know I'm down for this. Randy Johnson, thank you for the super chat. He says, you think Remedy's P7 will be on Sony stage? I don't know. If it was Sony of a couple years ago, I think they would relish in the fact of taking a previously exclusive Microsoft developer and putting their game on their stage. But I think Sony's beyond that. Sony's thinking about the PlayStation 5. Sony's thinking about how they can make their fans happy. Sony's focused on their first-party content. I think they're beyond that type of stuff. And honestly, does anybody really care about P7? Is Remedy that big of a name? I'm not really sure. It's being published by 505 Games. Maybe Sony already knew what it was. Maybe they pitched to Sony and they didn't want it either. So I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see it. I want to see it. That's not saying I don't want to see it. I want to see P7. I just not sure it's going to be there. And I'm not really sure what Sony's press conference is going to be like. Is it really just going to be those 4 games from Sony and a handful of multiplats and an hour-long show? It's going to be interesting, and I can't wait to check it out. Rump Rosewitz, thanks for the super chat. Thumbs up. Really appreciate the support. I'm glad you guys always tune in. But let's get back to Bethesda. And then we had a great segment from Todd Howard. Man, Todd Howard really knows how to basically do a press demo, dude. Like, he is the king of doing that stuff. He's so smooth. He's so natural. He's just so slick on the mic. And even though there's a teleprompter, the way he was walking around the stage, basically speaking without really looking at it, he's a professional. And honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of Fallout. I played 3, really like it. I didn't play 4. And I'm sitting here thinking, is Fallout 76 going to be for me? I'm not online. I don't know. But as Todd Howard went through the discussion, went through everything about the game, hey, man, he started to turn me into a believer. I started to think to myself, oh God, am I going to be buying this game? It's coming out this year, November 14th. And this year, this holiday is absolutely packed. More packed than last year. Like, October is jam-packed with games. October, you got Assassin's Creed, Forza Horizon 2, Call of Duty, Battlefield 5, Red Dead Redemption 2. It is packed. November, really light this year. The only game coming out in November, besides Fallout, currently is Hitman, and Hitman's coming out the day before Fallout. I don't think Hitman's coming out that day. It's gonna get destroyed by Fallout. And September's even packed. They just kind of shifted all the releases like forward a month. It's kind of weird how that happened. A lot of money going to be spent by a lot of people this holiday. A lot of cool games to look forward to. So Fallout 76 looks pretty interesting. I want to learn more about the game. Is it a PvP type situation? Are we gonna, I get my friends together, run into other ones and fight them? Are we gonna be doing quests with like regular monsters? I want to know like everything about how everything works in that game. But as just a demonstration, hey man, I thought it was pretty cool. And then they showed off Elder Scrolls Blades. Elder Scrolls Blades. I mean, you can really tell by a lot of press conferences that mobile is starting to become more and more focus. EA really went hard with Command & Conquer Rivals, a phone game. They gave that significant, demo time, stage time. And the same thing here. I know they did Fallout Shelter a couple years ago, and that was incredibly successful. And if I remember correctly, he said that more people played Fallout Shelter than all their other games combined. There is a huge audience on mobile, and developers want to attack that. And now you have this Elder Scrolls Blades game, which doesn't look half bad for a phone. They said they want to bring it to everywhere. And then you had Microsoft announce Gears Pop, and you're starting to think, like, man, they really are making a push for mobile. You really can't blame them considering how many mobile phones are out there. It's just weird to see at these big press conferences giving and devoting time to what most people would consider like beneath them. Like most gamers, most hardcore gamers would be like, mobile phones, get that shit out of my face. But the publishers can't ignore it because there's so many people on mobile, and it's such a growth market, But they did say that would be coming to consoles as well, potentially. So yeah. And then they ended the show with 2 trailers that were literally 5 seconds long, almost like a logo, like Metroid Prime 4. They finally announced to confirm that they were waiting for Starfield, or a Starfield they were working on, and we didn't really learn anything about it. I mean, looks like it's a sci-fi setting in space of some kind. No clue. No idea when it's coming. Not a date, not 2019, not 2020, so who knows. And then you have they teased for like 2 seconds Elder Scrolls 6. Once again, no date. So if you say Starfield's 2019, Elder Scrolls is 2020, maybe Starfield's 2020, Elder Scrolls is 2021. Maybe both those games are next generation games. I don't know. But it's intriguing. And the way that Bethesda did that is almost the way I wanted Microsoft to do a Fable and Perfect Dark tease. I said in my video earlier today that Microsoft's and Xbox's, first party is promising, and they bought those 5 studios, and I thought they could have went the extra mile and got even more people excited when he said, "Oh, in Forza Horizon, they're bringing the Forza Horizon team, Playground, they're bringing their expertise to, a different game," and all you had to do was just show a 5-second teaser and that just said Fable, people would have exploded at that idea. And clearly it worked for Elder Scrolls. No date given for that, but people are talking about it. And then you could have done the same for Perfect Dark. Like, and this game's coming back, and just scroll the thing and people would have been like, oh my God, it's amazing. Because clearly people just want to be excited about what's coming in the future. And Starfield and Elder Scrolls really nailed that home for Bethesda, even if those games are 2 to 3 years away. So that works. So for their conference, I quite enjoyed it. I'd give it like a B plus, like a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. I thought they did exactly what they needed to do. It's just kind of funny going from Save Player One last year to basically our games have multiplayer now. You know, Prey and Elder and Fallout, right? Like Fallout 76. Like, okay, that's fine. And then, so after that, this morning I got up. I'm like, all right, Square Enix, what do you got for me? What do you got for me, Square? You know, I'm looking forward to a lot of their games. I think Tomb Raider is going to be one of my favorite games this year. I'm a big, huge fan of the Tomb Raider, right? And I watched it. And I'm like, okay, they're starting off good. They went and spent the money and got Keith David to come do the voiceover for it. There was no live show, but I'm like, okay, it seems like they're spending money. I have a spammer in chat. Oh, well, I'm sure one of the mods can take care of him. I don't really see him, but I'm gonna keep on talking. If I see him as I talk, I'll time him out. But I'm sure Di Almighty Spartan God got that handled. So they showed off first Tomb Raider, and they basically stealthed it up, and then it's like my Splinter Cell fix of this year. And it looks cool. It looks like Tomb Raider, more stealth and stuff, and I can't wait to play it. I'm really anticipating it, and that was fine. And then we got a Final Fantasy 14 Stormblood thing. I have no idea what it was. Some Monster Hunter crossover. So cool for the people that like Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy. We got another trailer for Captain Spirit, which is the Life is Strange game. Cool, fine, all for that. Like those type of games. Dragon Quest 11. Game that's coming to PlayStation. That's another thing about this show was Square Enix basically giving PlayStation more exclusives after Phil had tried to show off more Japanese support on the Xbox One. Square the next day was like, here's some Japanese games potentially that are going to be exclusive to PlayStation, probably for at least a year before they come over. You know what I mean? And Dragon Quest 11 was one of them, which I never would expect the Dragon Quest games to ever come to Xbox anyways. And then it was Babylon's Fall. So during the entire trailer I'm watching this, I'm like, what is this game? This seems pretty interesting. And we were guessing back and forth, me and Gopher in the stream, like, what could it be? And then it was like, okay, it's Babylon's Fall. I'm like, okay, so that's a new IP. I'm always down for new IPs. And it was Platinum Games, PS4 and Steam 2019. I'm like, oh, okay. So Platinum's doing another like PS4 exclusive for the time being. Console exclusive, of course. I mean, Microsoft. I mean, I don't know. When I talk about exclusives, I talk about being on Xbox and not PlayStation, and an exclusive being on PlayStation and on Xbox. PC just really doesn't enter into the equation for me because even though I have a bomb-ass PC, I don't really think about it like that. I know other people do. So even though this game's on the Steam, it's still a PS4 exclusive just to me because I would either only play it on PlayStation or only play it on Xbox. Maybe that's a roundabout way of thinking. Maybe it's the wrong way of thinking about it, but that's how I do. I mean, I know I could play it on Steam if I wanted to, but I'd rather just play it on PlayStation or I'd rather just play it on Xbox. So like the PC stuff really doesn't even enter into my mind. It's like I see PlayStation and Steam, it's like it's a PlayStation exclusive. I see Xbox and Windows 10, I just see an Xbox exclusive. I don't know. That's how I've always kind of looked at it. But yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a decent game. I really do like Platinum, depending on who makes their games. So I'm sure this will be one of those. It'll be a good game, and I'm sure it'll probably come to Xbox a year later, like Nier did. They talked about Octopath Traveler, and I think that was coming out in July. Looks pretty cool. I might get that for the Switch. I haven't really played my Switch much, but I've been pretty busy. I do want to go and play Legend of Zelda on there. They showed off another trailer for Just Cause 4. Not really feeling that game. I'm not that big of a fan of the Just Cause series, but maybe we'll give it a try this December. And then they showed off Quiet Man, and which ended up also being a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and not really sure what to make of it. It looks like some sort of brawler. Um, Interesting. I don't really know who's also making it either. I'm not really sure they said anything about it. Um, and then they showed off Kingdom Hearts 3 with the trailer they showed at Microsoft's, and that was it. Then they literally ended the show, and it was half an hour long. I'm like, well, you didn't really need to have the show because there was nothing there. You know what I mean? Like, you you wasted 30 minutes of my time, but then at least you didn't waste an hour and a half of my time. Like EA wasted an hour and a half of my time on Saturday or whatever day that was. Yeah, Saturday. They wasted an hour and a half of our time. At least Square was like, well, we're going to waste your time, but we're only going to waste 30 minutes of your time, because they didn't really need to do this. They, where was Avengers? Which maybe Avengers is going to be at Sony's show tonight. Maybe Sony has exclusivity on Avengers. I don't even know. Where was Hitman? Where was Hitman 2? That's another game that's literally coming out in November. Where was that? Is that another game that's going to be at Sony's show? Sony did have the marketing rights to the last Hitman game, so it's possible Avengers and Hitman show up at Sony's show tonight, and then, okay, that would be understandable. But for just a half-hour show, I was like, well, I mean, that's my first thought, was just like, well, thanks for not wasting an hour and a half of my time and only half an hour. Didn't really need to exist. So that's kind of my take on Square Enix's show. Didn't really need to exist. And then we get to Ubisoft's. Now, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, listening to me on different podcasts and stuff, you guys know I love Splinter Cell. And I was hyped up for this show because it had to be the show. It had to be this year. It absolutely had to be this year. Walmart Canada's leak was true. We've seen all the games basically come true and be announced, except for, of course, Borderlands 3, which they said exists but wasn't going to be there. And the one true game I was looking at and being like, okay, this needs to happen, is Splinter Cell. And oh yeah, you know what, Suraj, you're right. Hitman does belong to Warner Brothers. My mistake. I thought it was Square Enix, but you're right. Thanks for correcting me. They're Warner Brothers now. They used to be Square. Thank you so much for correcting me, because we were talking about that in party, and Gopher said the same thing, and we both forgot that they're Warner Brothers. So that makes sense that Hitman's that isn't there. So thanks for the correction. Yeah, you're completely right. Totally blanked on that. So yeah, back to the Splinter Cell. Like, I believed this was finally the year. They put Sam Fisher into Ghost Recon and had you play as him, and had Michael Ironside come back. I'm like, okay, it's coming. It's all lining up. The stars are aligning. The planets are aligning. We're gonna get a portal into Splinter Cell, and Michael Ironside is gonna come out, and it's gonna be great. But let's just run through this show. God, I wish you guys could feel my disappointment that happened at the end. Oh my God. Anyways, they started off with Beyond Good and Evil 2. It looked great. I'm excited to play it. I didn't really catch much of this because I had something to do really fast, but Gopher filled me in on it. Looks cool. I don't think they gave a date though, or did they? I didn't really see much of that because I missed out on them dancing to the stage, the beginning as well, the Just Dance stuff on the stage. Then apparently they did Rainbow Six Siege. So this is going off of my notes, what Gopher told me happened, because I didn't catch the first two things. I caught the CGI trailer for Beyond Good and Evil, but then I had to go do something. So I'm trusting Gopher not to lie to me on this. So they did Rainbow Six Siege, and he said they had 30 million players or something. Hey, Rainbow's like the biggest success story of one of the biggest success stories of this generation. Rainbow, Overwatch, Fortnite, PUBG, the rise of Battle Royale. The fact that the game was kind of trash when it came out in 2015 and now is like one of the biggest games out there, like a model of other publishers copying it for games as a service, like doing it right, having constant new updates all the time, like 3 drops, and clearly Division 2's copying that. I can't say a bad thing about Rainbow Six Siege. Love that game. Then they got into Trials Rising, which is coming out February 2019. I like the Trials games. I'm not very good at them. I have friends who are amazing at them. But it's cool. I really do like those games. So I'm down for a new Trials. Division 2, they showed it off at Microsoft's and they showed it off here again, coming out March 19th, which is pretty great. 8-player raids this time. They said they learned a whole bunch from the last game, which, it's great. That's what I want. I want to see someone do a game, take what they learned, take what worked, take what didn't work, improve upon it, and make a better sequel. So hopefully Division 2 is exactly, like what a proper sequel should be: bigger, better, better, just like Mass Effect 1 to 2, just like Uncharted 1 to 2, just a better game overall, because now you know what people want. Now you know what not to do, because that's some of the things you got to understand, is like what not to do. So I think Division 2 is gonna surprise a lot of people, because I did enjoy playing the game in 4-player co-op. And I can't wait to get back into it. 8-player raids sound pretty intriguing. They already talked about their roadmap. 3 episodes in the first year with some title updates, and it's free to all. I really do like this approach we're getting now to like free content, instead of like previous gens, like last generation and even the lead up to this one. It was like season passes and DLCs and map packs and expansions and all this stuff. But because of the more shift to a service-based industry where they want as many people as playing and not to be people to be split up so people can play with each other, I like this idea of here's free maps, here's free characters, and all that stuff. I think that's pretty good. Hey, what's up, Predator? How's it going, buddy? Did you see Inside Xbox? What was the announcement? I believe the announcement was for Vigor from Bohemia Studios. They're making a kind of survival-ish game, online survival-ish game that's not really Battle Royale, at least what it seemed like to me. I turned off Inside Xbox after like 30 minutes because they were literally just doing the press conference again, just interviewing developers about it. But they started that show off with Vigor, which is coming to game preview in August. So yeah, and then they brought out a group to play some instruments and talk about Donkey Kong Rabbids DLC. Everybody tells me Mario Rabbids is pretty cool. And it seems like a fun game. It was highly rated, and it's not a standalone game. It's DLC for that, so that did look cool. And then and then they showed off Sea of Thieves. No, they showed off Skull and Bones, which I said on Twitter was, hey, look at this DLC for Sea of Thieves. Hey, Skull and Bones, I mean, the way the game looked great. Really good. I mean, honestly, just even though I was impressed by how the game visually looked, it literally is just the Assassin's Creed 4 naval system taken out of that game and into its own. So it's more fleshed out, more ships, different types of weaponry, and all the cosmetic stuff. I did think that was funny. Like, they showed off cosmetic stuff that actually did something different, that had stat bonuses, that changed the game instead of just cosmetic stuff. And that's coming out in 2019. My hype level is kind of moderate on that. I don't know. It's tough to get really super excited for basically what is a sailing game. You know what I mean? Then they showed off Transference, which is Elijah Wood's game. Seemed pretty interesting. Like a VR horror game. I'm down to play that when it comes this fall to all the consoles. Although, do you want to even come out this fall? There are so many games coming that your game might get, stepped over. I don't know. Maybe you should avoid Transference, right? Starlink with Star Fox. I'm sure all the Nintendo fans are pretty excited. And that's probably where it's going to sell the most, even though it's coming to all the consoles and coming out on October 16th. I would imagine a lot of people are going to play and buy it just for Star Fox on the Nintendo Switch. I really don't like the art style they're going for. It reminds me of Disney Infinity, which I wasn't really a fan of. So I'm probably not going to play that game. Then they went into For Honor, and we have a new season. They're adding new characters, the Chinese warriors, at least what it looked like to me. All seem pretty cool. I'm glad that they're supporting For Honor for the people that still play it. I see they said they have 1 million players a month. For Honor is one of the more unique games out there in gaming right now. There's literally nothing like For Honor. right? There's nothing like For Honor. And I didn't really get to play it that much when it first came out because I was playing Sniper Elite with my buddy, which is a bad decision I made. But seeing those Chinese warriors made me want to actually go back and check it out. What's up, OBJ? I can't even say your name right half the time, which is why I always shorten it to OBJ. Red Dead 2 delayed until February 22nd. That's right. I did see the Kaz Hirai Twitter account mention that that Rockstar should delay Red Dead 2 to February 22nd and watch all the other publishers scatter out of their way like cockroaches. You know what I mean? Because they would. If Red Dead came out there and was like, by the way, our game's February 22nd, every single one of those games would get the F out of Dodge. They wouldn't even think about it. Sony would be announcing a Days Gone delay tomorrow. EA would be like, oh, we're letting Anthem get more time. Metro would be like, yeah, our game's delayed to 2020. They would move in the blink of an eye. It'd be so fast. So fast. And then they showed off Crew 2, which I'm excited to play. I was really impressed by the demo. So I'm going to check it out. Comes out at the end of the month. Pretty cool. And they ended on Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You can choose between Alexios, the male character, or Cassandra, the female character. It's out October 5th, as if you didn't need more games to play this holiday. And if October wasn't packed enough, here comes Ass Creed, which is normally late October, November title into beginning of October. It just goes to show you the power of Red Dead, in my opinion, because this holiday release schedule is unlike any other. Here comes Red Dead. They planted their flag, and literally the games that would normally launch in November are now jumping that game. So clearly other publishers want to be out before Red Dead because they think people are just going to be playing Red Dead Online and Red Dead single player, and they're not going to be anything else to play for anybody else. It's pretty amazing to actually see all the publishers run scared of Rockstar. And it would be even more amazing what would happen if it was Grand Theft Auto 6. Because Red Dead's big, but it ain't Grand Theft Auto 6 big. It's not Grand Theft Auto big. So it'd be interesting whenever Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out to see the release. Like literally every game will come out before Grand Theft Auto 6 because nobody's going to want to come out afterwards. But that was the end of the show. And me and Gopher were literally sitting there looking at the clock like, okay, they got time. They still got time. Splinter Cell's coming. They still have time. They're going to show a demo here. But as For Honor came up on stage, and then the Crew 2 came up on stage, then it was an Assassin's Creed trailer, followed by the guy talking, followed by an extended demo. We were just sat there and like, no, it has to be here. But it wasn't. No Splinter Cell. I sat there stunned. Because Walmart betrayed me. The one game I needed to be real from Walmart Canada, and it wasn't real. What? How does that happen? Every other game on that leak was true. Except for fucking Splinter Cell. The one game I needed out of that entire list to be true. Unless, of course, it's at Sony's tonight. But I can't let myself believe. I don't want to get hurt again, guys. I don't want to get hurt again. I don't want to open my heart and believe that Splinter Cell is going to be at Sony's. To just get let down and disappointed again. To have Ubisoft tread on my heart once more. I can't do it. Can't do it. It's not going to be at Sony's show. It's not. Oh, but God, it would still be awesome if it was at Sony's show. Sony could literally come out there and have PSX 2 with couches where they showed 2 minutes of all their games. And if they ended on Splinter Cell, 10 out of 10, best conference of all time. You guys talk about E3 2015 Sony as the E3 of dreams, where they showed off Shenmue, and they showed off Last Guardian, and they showed off Final Fantasy Remake, even though none of those games are out yet. That will be the E3 of dreams for Rand, with Splinter Cell finally coming back. But I can't let myself dream, because I don't want to get hurt. Been hurt too many times when it comes to Splinter Cell. Disappointing. Just disappointing. And that's what Ubisoft's conference kind of was to me. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit for the entertainment purposes, but I felt Ubisoft conference wasn't that good. I felt it was worse than Bethesda's. I'd give it a 5 out of 10 at best. Better than Square Enix's, which honestly, a 3 out of 10. I gave EA a 3. Square Enix has got to be the same thing. You know what? I'll give Square a 4. You want to know why I'll give Square a 4? Because they didn't waste an hour and a half of my time. They wasted just half an hour. So thank you, Square Enix, for appreciating my time. And screw you, EA, for showing me an hour and a half of nothing for the most part. EA's definitely been the worst. Square Enix, at least it was a half an hour. But yeah, so 7 for Bethesda, 5 for Ubisoft, 4 for Square. I think I gave a 9 to Microsoft. We got Sony. We got one last one to go. I know Nintendo's tomorrow, but who gives a freak about Nintendo? Who gives an F about Nintendo? They're irrelevant. Irrelevant Native says, Beyond Good and Evil, your thoughts? Hey, I love Beyond Good and Evil 1. Can't wait to play Beyond Good and Evil 2 whenever that comes out. Whatever it plays like. So we got Sony starting in about 45 minutes. Still trying to think about how it's going to be presented, the deep dives on the 4 main games, what third-party content's going to be there, if we're actually going to get Death Stranding gameplay, because they can't just show another trailer. They've shown 3 cryptic trailers. I don't want another one. I want gameplay. Be interesting to see if we get release dates for Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. I'm going to say we get release windows for Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2. I don't think we'll get a release window yet for Death Stranding. But man, hopefully Superman shows up. That'd be great. Rocksteady, I'm down for that. Mortal Kombat 11. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see more of what Sony's doing, and hopefully this one ends on a bang. Hopefully it's, is just as good, if not better, than Microsoft's, and I'll be extremely happy. And if they unveil Splinter Cell, I'll give it a 10 out of fucking 10, because that's what I want. Anyways, guys, I told you this would be short. I know everybody's getting ready to go watch Sony's show. We got 45 minutes to go. So that's my thoughts on Ubisoft, Square Enix, and Bethesda. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. If you watch this video later, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Sub to the channel if you're new, all that stuff, the drill. And yeah, make sure you check out my video earlier today about the Microsoft first party stuff. I think Ninja Theory could be could essentially be their Naughty Dog in like 10 years if they let them make what they want, because they are already a high quality single player cinematic action team. That could be their big studio in like 10 years. But I hope everybody had a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I don't know if I'll go live after Sony's show tonight. I'll think about it, because I do have some appointments I need to go to in the morning. So either I'll go live later tonight, or I'll do maybe a live show tomorrow and talk about Sony's. Either way, we'll talk about Sony's, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. I got my fingers crossed. Thanks for being here, guys. And, see you later tonight or tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace.